and welcome to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. Glad you joined us tonight. We have a special show. We're going to do all about the Rockwood community. A couple years ago, I heard about an event that was going on there called Rock the Block. And so MetroEast checked it out and decided that's something we wanted to be a part of. So we want to share all of the information about that with you tonight. So to start off, we'll be talking with Brooke Cruz, who's the event planner and coordinator for Rock the Block. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And then Sandra Casillas, and you, well, you both are with Pathfinders. You're the operations manager, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, nice to have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, first of all, Pathfinders of Oregon is what are you, the sponsor,
We're kind of the convening organization.
The convening organization,
Yes.
That's a good name for it. So tell me a little bit about Pathfinders, if you would, one of you, just like what it's all about, why that organization exists, what you do in the community.
Okay. Pathfinders is a 22-year-old organization, and we were established originally to provide a cognitive restructuring program in the prisons in Oregon. Mm-hmm. So we implemented positive programming in prisons, and we really worked to break that cycle of criminal justice involvement. That's our mission, is to break the cycle of criminal justice involvement, and to really advocate for children and families
that are involved, that have family members that are part of that or who are affected by it.
Exactly. Incarceration can be incredibly traumatizing, for the entire family, but particularly for the children.
Sure.
And so we built our programs in the prisons, and then about 8 years ago, we branched out into community programming because we thought, okay, well, then these people are being released and they need, then what happens? They need all these wraparound services, and they need support, and they need their peers to really lift them up and help them break that cycle and to stabilize their families. Right. So we opened the Center for Family Success, and we've been in Rockwood now for 7 years, and we provide parenting classes and healthy relationships classes, and we have a great parent cafe and a support group. Nice. And all sorts of different things that really help people return to the community and find stability. We help them find housing, we help them find jobs,
That's
we
great,
help them.
That's gotta be really hard.
Yeah, it's very challenging. And we credit our amazing partners with helping with all of those things as well.
And maybe you can tell me a little bit more about them later. Sandra, what do you do as the operations manager? You're kind of in charge of all the day-to-day stuff that happens?
Everything behind the scenes. I started in 2007 when they decided to bring the St. John's services out to Rockwood because the community here needed it as much as they did at the time in St. John's, with the community moving this way. So I was happy enough to be the very first one in the building to decide how things were going to take place.
Oh, so you were one of the ones that actually formed the organization, as far as this location.
Right, at least because I'm a member of the community, and so I know a lot of how the community works, and so they thought that I would be a good benefit for that. I'm also bilingual, so considering the community is bilingual, it was a great help.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Well, I've heard you have been a great asset to the organization. And really, Pathfinders has been really kind of a cornerstone of the community there for, as long as you've been there. I mean, people know about Pathfinders and know the good work you do.
Thank you.
So tell me what was it, not last year, the year before, is when you had your first Rock the Block. Mm-hmm. Tell me why that was started and what was the impetus behind that? What motivated you to start doing that?
Well, about 3 years ago, we have these really fantastic private donors, and they came to us and they said, we're really interested in supporting the community of Rockwood. We understand that there's this concentration of risk factors out there, and there are all these kids that need something to do. They need activities, and they need just to feel cared for and to feel like this community wants to give back to them and provide a celebration of Rockwood. So our original intent was to have this big community celebration with all of our partners who serve Rockwood, and to connect kids to ongoing positive activities.
Okay.
So that first year, we had to beg some people to participate, like, hey, can you come out all weekend and staff a booth, and
Well, and you did it in a very short time frame, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Right?
I think it was 7 weeks that we put it together.
That's really, really fast for an event like that.
It was.
But it was successful.
Right.
It was. We felt like it was hugely successful, and we received a lot of positive feedback, and we also learned a lot about, what to do differently. But we had a great turnout. I think people really enjoyed themselves, and we had our kids parade, and then we had a great big Feast of Nations dinner, and we were anticipating maybe a few hundred people, and about 750 people showed up.
Yeah, we did a couple runs
Wow.
of food.
Yeah.
Yes, and
We showed up at restaurants like, can you please?
Really? Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Did they come through for you?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
That's
a big
great.
shout out to Rico Taco
Yeah.
in Rockland.
That's great. That's great. So then the next year, and that was the year that we became involved with it.
Yes.
I mean, I was amazed at how successful that was, because it wasn't really very good weather. You remember that? It was windy, and we had
windy.
some rain, not too bad, but
I remember.
but sandbagging, the tents to keep them
Yeah.
from flying away. Yeah, but it was huge.
It was huge, and we just felt, even though there was that nasty weather, people still came out in full
And
force.
they stayed.
We had
stayed,
44 booths, 60 social service agencies and government agencies were represented last year, and just the quality of the services and the programming that we were able to connect folks to was
It was great.
really exciting.
I think we have some pictures from last year's event, so maybe if we see those. Oh, there we go.
And those are some photos of we're prepping for our kids' parade there. All the kids get balloons and leis and noisemakers and
So they
exciting
can kind of
things.
dress themselves up, or their bikes,
Right.
or whatever they're.
Yeah.
Every child walks away with the T-shirt that says "Rock the Block" on it. As
Nice.
well.
That's great. Now these guys,
Those
they're
are
colorful.
the Aztec dancers.
They were fun.
They'll be back this year,
good.
closing out Friday night at 7:30. Their costumes are gorgeous. And there's
The therapy
Rojo,
llamas, right?
Llama, they kiss
Rojo
you.
and Smokey, the therapy llamas.
I love that.
The kids love
Yeah,
them.
they
That
were
was the
popular.
parade.
And so the parade is Saturday morning. Is that correct?
The
Or is
parade is Saturday at noon.
Okay, at noon. Okay.
And
So if people don't know where this is, people are going to recognize that Max station stop, the big pink and orange
Right.
in back there, because that's.
It's kind of our Rockwood logo.
It is, and that's that's where you get off the Max. So if you're coming out on the Max to go to Rock the Block, get off there.
Yes,
right,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So what is going to be different this year from previous years? Is there anything different? Are you pretty much staying with the same formula as far as you have the parade, you have the what about the dinner?
Yes, we'll have the dinner, the Feast of Nations dinner on Friday night at 6:30. A couple new additions this year that are really exciting is the Rockwood Farmers Market is making their debut on Friday evening from 3 to 7, and people will be able to use their SNAP and WIC benefits
That's
to
so great. I'm so glad
purchase
they're
fresh
doing that now.
foods. Yeah, it's really exciting. And also, so last year we addressed a kind of food equity in the community, and we had different samples of nutritious food, and we connected people to a lot of food resources. And this year, our focus is literacy.
Right.
And we have a really special guest, Mitchell Jackson, who's an author and documentary filmmaker, and he'll be there just, playing basketball with the kids and reading books to the
Cool.
kids and connecting with them. He's from Portland. He's an incredible role model. He had criminal justice involvement in his past and went on to become a professor at NYU and just has
Great.
an
So
amazing story.
he has the chops for fitting in with your organization perfectly.
Yes.
And his book Residue Years is the Multnomah County Library, like the
Everybody reads.
Everybody Reads Choice. I have this much left of it. I have the book. I'm reading, and I'm going to go see him speak too, because he's going to be making a couple speaking engagements. And one is
Yes.
a fundraiser luncheon for Pathfinders. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. That'll be exciting to have him there.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Don't you have a big float for him to be the Grand Marshal or anything in your parade?
We don't. I wish we
We
did.
have him ride in a little red wagon or something.
Can we borrow your table?
Yeah, maybe he can ride the therapy llamas.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be hilarious. Okay, so it's Friday and Saturday. So Friday from what time to what time? Is it like 4 to 8 or?
It's 3 to 8,
3 to 8,
on
okay.
Friday.
Okay.
And we're hoping that after school on Friday, that all the kids come straight out with their families and hang out, play basketball. There'll be a ton of arts and crafts and entertainment on stage the whole time.
So the entire 2 days, you'll have
Yes.
entertainment on stage,
Yeah.
and that varies widely.
It does.
Yeah. So what kind of entertainment can we expect this year?
We have Zumba dancing. We have the Aztec dancers. We
colorful.
have a band. What's the band name?
Yeah, we have the Soulmates.
The Soulmates.
Oh,
and
fun.
Dance Hall Days
They
is a
were
new
there
band
last
we
year.
just signed on.
Oh, I don't know
Right.
about them.
And there's several others. that their minds are slipping my.
We have Andy Ketch and the Mutts. They're a cool rock band.
Oh, fun.
And we have the Aspire Dance Project. I'm a huge fan of their groups. They have the cutest kids in elaborate costumes that are just incredible dancers.
I've heard of them. I've never seen them, so I can look forward to that. And then the Feast of Nations dinner will be Friday night?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's, what time do you say, 6?
6:30.
6:30. And so when you say Feast of Nations, explain to people what you're talking about there. Do you have food from all different kinds of food?
Well, we have, we had to be selective.
Oh, of course, you can't cover the entire
As much as we
entire
would
world,
love
yes.
to serve every
Yeah.
food, we have several different foods. One is Rico Taco,
Okay.
who was our saver from the first year. And then teriyaki from Yummy Sushi.
Okay.
And what's the other one?
We have Greek food from Nicholas Restaurant
Oh,
here
good.
in
Yeah,
Gresham.
Yeah, that's good.
And then African cuisine from Queen of Sheba.
Oh, in Portland.
Yeah.
I've eaten there too. That's good food. Nice. Well, that's a good mix there. Yeah, that's some variety. And that is free?
Yes.
Everything we do is free.
That's pretty amazing. So the entrance to the whole event free.
Everything's free.
The parade obviously is free. The dinner, that's pretty amazing. So the dinner is held where?
The dinner will be held just right next to the Plaza del Sol, and it'll be served right next to the Plaza del Sol, and then we'll have tons of picnic tables set up.
Is it indoors or outdoors?
It's outdoors.
It's outdoors, okay.
It's the center of the event. And the plan for the meal is that we eat together as a community. This is kind of how we build the community. We learn about other cultures that are in our community, because as you know, Rockwood is very diverse, and learning about each other's foods and eating together and sharing a meal, having a conversation with somebody you've never met before, or maybe you've met and never really had a conversation.
Right.
So this is our way of building that community, is kind of just sitting and
love
having
that.
a meal together.
And that's one thing that every group, every country, every ethnic group, whatever, they have their food.
Yeah.
And that's that's an important part of every culture, and to be able to share that with other people is pretty.
Yeah, if
pretty
you ask
cool.
my mother, food is how you show love. So
There you go.
this is our way of showing love to Rockwood.
I like that. I like that. That's
Yeah.
great. Now, if I remember correctly, on Saturday of last year, there was a lunch provided also. Does that
Yes.
happen again this year?
Yes, Snowcap Community Charities is one of our sponsors, and they're providing hosted lunch on Saturday. So it will be a sack lunch provided for all the attendees immediately following the kids' parade.
Wow. What a deal.
It's
I mean,
fantastic.
yeah. And besides the free lunch and the free dinner and the parade and the music, you said there was kids can play basketball, there's arts and crafts and things like that.
Right.
I remember that there were a lot of community partners, Wallace Medical, the neighborhood associations, people that are, I'm not sure where they were from, showing you how to use your car seats correctly for your babies,
Right.
Things like that. I mean, there was just a whole vast variety of different nonprofits that were there to just share what they had to offer.
Yeah.
So one of the things, if I may add, the reason we did the first round is we started a new program called RISE, and we were looking for resources for these youth. And we figured out that there wasn't much, or at
Really?
least not that we knew of. And it wasn't until we put on the event and we asked every provider that came to provide a service for that youth. And then we learned that there's a lot to do. But we
so
had
a lot of times
no,
people don't know that.
right?
Though. Yeah.
And I mean, in within our own neighborhood, we had
Yeah,
no idea.
yeah.
And so that was an eye opener the first time around. And this time, because they're all aware of how we do things and how the event goes, they were all ready to go. And
Isn't
so
that great?
they're all providing some kind of activity, some kind of resource that children can sign up for or families can sign up for, and some kind of resource within the community that maybe they're not aware of.
Right.
And so everybody will be educating the people that are attending, and they're walking away with the resource on hand.
Yeah.
So if they want to sign up on that spot, they
They
can.
can do that.
And they know that the children will have something to do for the summer. As well as, because it's a literacy event, we will have books that we will be giving away.
Nice.
We have people reading stories throughout the event as well.
Oh.
And then again, we'll be giving out the Rockwood t-shirts, which are a great hit.
Oh yeah, free stuff is always
Yeah.
is always welcome.
Throughout the year, I see people walking around with
Yeah,
Rock
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Block, which
I do, too.
is kind
I've
of
rocked my Rock the Block
It's
t-shirt. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
It's kind of one of those moments where you see it and you're like, yay!
It was a really good feeling, wasn't it, last year? I mean, and probably the year before, but it was a very much a community event.
Yes.
I think that it was. I think it surprised people. It went without a hitch as far as there was no violence that I'm
Right.
aware of. There were no altercations of any
No.
any magnitude. It just seemed
People
really
of all
friendly and smooth.
different cultures and all different, they all came out. There was no stigma of any kind. The doors were wide open to
Yeah.
anybody.
This is our neighborhood.
It's very secure, so
Yeah.
you saw parents kind of drop their shoulders and just let their kids run and participate.
because they probably don't a lot. You
Right.
know? Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, we have a bad rep in Rockwood, but we're trying to turn that around.
I think this is a huge step toward changing that. So, what do you think was what was the biggest impact you could see from having this event? Was it that, like parents actually relaxing and maybe a change in perception of the neighborhood, or was there anything in particular that really stood out for you?
Well, I mean, for me, living in the community, I walk around a lot, and people are like, "When are you having that event again?
Really?
What was it behind?" And one of the things I mentioned to Brooke when we decided to be a part of this is we can't go away. So many things have come and gone. That my one thing was, no matter where we have to find the funding, we
find
have
it.
to find the
Yeah.
way, and we have to continue to make this happen.
If people are looking forward to it and
Right.
counting on that,
It's an amazing resource, and we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to know what's around here. And it changes on a daily, you know.
I'm sure. So, who are some of those community partners that you work with?
Oh, yay.
We work closely with the Rockwood CDC.
And we'll be talking with Scott McCracken from Rockwood CDC here in a little bit. So
Yes.
that'll be good. He can tell us all his side of things here.
They're doing amazing things in
They
the
are,
community and
yeah.
helping us organize Rock the Block this year. And I have a Dream Foundation, the Boys and Girls Club.
Which is they're the ones that just came out here, right? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
just
in the
building
process.
building
We're the
new
old
building.
70s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Friends of the Children, Home Forward, and then our sponsors, the City of Gresham. We're partnering with Multnomah County, Oregon Humanities this year. That's a very exciting partnership that is brand new this year. They're hosting this big tent we're calling Reading Together in partnership with Multnomah County Library.
Oh, great.
And so folks from the Rockwood Library who are just amazing and speak numerous languages.
They're wonderful. Yeah, they are.
We'll be hosting the tent and engaging kids in literacy activities, giving away books, painting faces, doing all sorts of exciting stuff both days of the event.
Fun. That sounds great. Yeah, we worked with actually I've worked with most of those organizations at one time or another. Those are really good community partners, and you really can't do it without them.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
This would be nothing without all of our partners
Yeah.
and the resources they bring to the table.
You talked about RISE. That's the Rockwood Intercultural Student Experience.
Yeah, good job,
Wow.
Monica.
I do try to pay attention. I wasn't sure if I had all that right. But that's one of your many programs. So if people want to find out more about Pathfinders of Oregon, they can go to your website. And if they want to check out Rock the Block, the Facebook page is Rockwood Nation.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I would love for more folks to follow our Facebook page.
Like them.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Share your pictures,
Yeah.
especially during the event.
Okay.
It's awesome to watch other people's point of view of the event.
Yeah. So I hope that we'll get a lot of people out there to check it out this year. We're going to, like I said, we're going to have Scott on here pretty soon from Rockwood CDC, and we're going to have
Great.
Josh Fuhrer, who's going to be here from the Gresham Redevelopment Commission. So they'll be talking more about Rockwood and the area and how Rock the Block is helping to shape that area. But before that, we're going to show just a couple. We'll have a couple pages of graphics here, but then we're going to go into the video that MetroEast did last year. Emily and John here at MetroEast did a video that has a lot of the footage from your event last year, which was colorful and fun and just a very positive experience. So we'll go out on that note. Any last words before I let you go, ladies?
Come on down.
Yes, please come check us
And
out.
the dates are?
May 29th and 30th at the Plaza del Sol, 18535 Southeast Stark.
Nicely done. Or look for the big Rockwood map
logo.
station. Yes. Thanks a lot. We'll be back in just a few minutes with more of Community Hotline, but stay tuned. You'll want to see that video coming up.
no se les olvide rock the block.
This is Multnomah County Commissioner Diane McKeel, and I'm here to rock the block.
Rock the block!
Rock the block. Rock the block.
Rock the Block is a free community event taking place in Rockwood at the Plaza del Sol. We are inviting all of the families and community members in Rockwood to come out and shine a positive spotlight on the community while enjoying good food, music.
Rock the Block es un evento donde tenemos diversión para los niños, un lugar donde pueden soltarse y de sentirse como la comunidad. Que usted se venga y disfrute a sus hijos, disfrute los recursos que vamos a tener, la comida que vamos a disfrutar. Es un evento para usted con amor y con calidad.
Last year, we all came together because Pathfinders of Oregon has an extraordinary private donor who wanted to help us create an event to really help connect people to long-term positive resources and activities in Rockwood. And so they sponsored Rock the Block. And then this year, the City of Gresham, Multnomah County, TriMet, Wells Fargo, and several other partners have come together to sponsor us.
And you get a lot of stuff here? Yeah, you get a lot of information that you really need. And they have food.
Free food.
Rock the Block brings a safe environment where families can come and enjoy themselves without barriers, without borders, and without any judgment.
We bring together 60 community partners, social service agencies, and government agencies to connect to community members.
And so if we can bring that into a community that makes them feel like this is home, I think that makes a big difference in their day-to-day.
And it's community events like this that bring people together, and it kind of shows how much we do have in common and that we are all in this together.
It's a beautiful thing. It's just beautiful.
Es muy importante que vengan a mirar este evento porque es muy bueno para toda la familia. La cooperativa de Rockwood somos parte de al Rock the Block este año y estamos muy orgullosos de estar aquí. Estamos invitando a todos a que vengan a nuestra mesa.
No se olviden, sí se puede.
We're the Maurice Lucas Foundation, and we are here to rock the block.
This is our second year here at Rock the Block, and we're big supporters, and we're here last year, and we're here this year, and we'll be here in years to go.
I'm Carter.
I'm Joey. I'm Jack.
Rock the block.
Rock the Block.
We're here to rock the block.
MetroEast is here to rock the block.
East Metro Gang Enforcement Team. We're here to rock the block.
Hi, I'm Mayor Shane Bemis. We're out here at Rock the Block. What a great event to see so many community members come together for a common purpose to make this community better.
I'm Devin, and we're rocking the block.
We walking on block.
I particularly like that the focus is on the young people in this community. That's so important. East County has the highest number of young people and teens in all of Multnomah County, and we're very proud of our young people out here in East County.
Events like this are really important for the community because they bring together social service and government organizations with community members to break down those barriers and really help facilitate long-term change.
Hi, we're here at the SCI booth at Rock the Block 2014.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Yvette.
And we are here to tell you that life has options through self-enhancement.
Good afternoon, I'm Catherine Nicewood, President of the Rockwood Neighborhood Association, one of the sponsors of Rock the Block.
Hola a todos, buenas tardes. Estamos aquí en Rock the Block.
We are a local chapter of an international movement. We support good, clean, and fair food.
Estamos promocionando un programa que se llama 4H, donde los niños participan a desarrollar sus habilidades dentro de la sociedad y en el ambiente.
Go to www.handsonportland.org to find easy and quick ways to volunteer in your local community. And next time, come join us again at Rock the Block.
Trying to make Rockwood a better place to live, work, and play.
So we provide the parents with the resources and we provide the children with entertainment. So the kids get to play, they get to dance, they get to sing, they get to kiss the llamas.
The Therapy Llamas are here to rock the block.
This is such a great event, and the City of Gresham is so proud to be a part. Rockwood is such an amazing neighborhood and community, and you can see it by all the volunteers and nonprofits and the great community members that we have here.
We had overwhelming positive response from the community last year. We had twice as many attendees as we anticipated. And people are really excited to have an annual celebration to look forward to.
Bringing something like Rock the Block, it brings light to everything.
We really feel like this is a platform to connect people to positive activities, positive resources, and create long-term change.
Rockwood is somewhere a child that needs love, and I think Rock the Block can bring that love.
Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel, and we're here at MetroEast Community Media in Gresham, Oregon. We've been talking about Rock the Block. We just spoke with Brooke and Sandra from Pathfinders of Oregon. They were telling us all about Rock the Block and how it's evolved over the last couple of years. But Rock the Block is all about the Rockwood community and making it a better place. So I want to talk now with Josh Fuhrer. You're the Executive Director with the Gresham Redevelopment Commission. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And Scott McCracken, the Interfaith Facilitator for Rockwood Community Development Corporation, or the Rockwood CDC. Thanks for coming, Scott.
Thank you.
So, gentlemen, tell me, Rockwood has changed a lot over the years. Who can tell me, who knows about the history of Rockwood and just a little bit about how it's changed?
I can speak to that a little bit. I grew up in Rockwood. My parents first moved to Rockwood in 1978 when I was 4 years old. So you can do the math.
Yeah.
Just dated myself. So I grew up there. I went to Centennial High School. My family still lives in Rockwood. I've lived in Rockwood off and on throughout my entire adult life. It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
It was a very different place when I grew up there. It's changed a lot in that over the last 20 years or so, it's become much more multicultural. Some of the gentrification that we've seen in North and Northeast Portland has pushed a lot of people out of neighborhoods that they had historically been in for a long time. They came to Rockwood largely because it was an affordable place to come. And even historically, going back to the 50s, Rockwood was always sort of a blue-collar community with a really strong work ethic and a really strong sense of community to it. I remember being a kid riding my bike to the Rockwood Library, and meeting up with friends. And
it was a safe place.
It was a very safe place. Parents never worried about.
It was a little Mayberry, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was Mayberry, but it was a very comfortable place to grow up as a kid.
Yeah.
And over the last 10, 20 years, we've seen a lot of change, some of it not so good, some of it actually quite good. I'm actually really excited about the diversity that we have in Rockwood.
And I like that too. I think it adds so much to a community to have that diversity.
For sure, and the youth too. So there was a study done by Metro a few years ago, and they measured a number of socioeconomic demographic factors across 38 town centers across the Portland metro area. Rockwood actually has the youngest median age of any town center in the region.
Really?
And the most diversity.
Wow.
So there's a tremendous amount of energy when you have a young, diverse population. And I think that bodes really well for the future of Rockwood.
If you can harness that in the positive direction.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then again, that can be a problem too, because there's all that energy, and if it isn't channeled in the right directions, then there can be problems. And like I think, I'm not sure if it was Brooke or Sandra who mentioned it, that I think it was Sandra, that Rockwood has gotten kind of a bad rap the last few years. There's been, anytime anything bad happens, it's Rockwood.
Yeah, it's funny actually. Whenever there's something bad that happens, you hear about it in the media, and it's Rockwood, the neighborhood in Gresham. When you hear something good, like a restaurant review, for example, of a really great new restaurant that's opened up, it's the Rockwood neighborhood of East Portland. So I think there's also maybe a little bit
of a little prejudice there.
A little bit. And I think it's also true that as a community, you have to tell your story, or someone else will tell it for you. And for too long, Rockwood has let other people tell its story for it. I think that's changing now. I think events like Rock the Block and community groups like the Rockwood CDC, who have come along in the last few years, joining together with folks who've been in the community for a long time, are helping to write a new chapter in Rockwood that's much more positive. There's a lot more positive momentum in terms of community engagement, new businesses opening, new development happening. And as somebody who's been a part of Rockwood for most of my life, I feel as optimistic as I've ever felt about Rockwood, because I feel like there's a shift that's happening, an evolution that's happening that's really positive.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I see that too. And people are excited about the changes that are happening there, and they're proud to be there and be part of that, I think.
And I think that's true. I also think that the people who are in Rockwood maybe see it a little bit more clearly than folks who aren't in Rockwood, who don't.
That makes sense.
Who don't engage with Rockwood as a community on a regular basis.
And only hear about it on the news.
and only hear about it on the news. But I think they're going to be surprised in the next 2 to 3 years. Things like Rock the Block, events like Rock the Block that are building community in a really positive way. I think as the rest of the world starts to catch on, they're going to realize that there's some really good things happening in Rockwood.
Maybe they want to be more like that.
Yeah.
So Scott, you have you've kind of studied and know a lot about the the numbers in Rockwood. I mean, you talked about the diversity there. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And I think we have some pictures too that you brought that kind of shows the diversity of cultures in Rockwood. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Right. Well, Rockwood is a very diverse community, and as we've already mentioned, that can be a positive thing. It can also provide its share of challenges. Reynolds School District has recently announced that, according to their findings, there are 88 different languages that are spoken in this approximately 6 square mile area.
That's incredible.
Of Rockwood. And it is incredible. And it's incredibly beautiful, but it can be challenging as well, with different cultures, different languages, different understandings. And so that is one of the challenges that we're facing. But I think it's a challenge worth taking up, because in the end, if we look at Rock the Block as even one little microcosm of what Rockwood can become, not just on a weekend, but as a life experience, people coming together with their differences to work together on a common goal with mutual respect. Right. We can all, it's not life happily ever after, but there is this movement toward connection, toward being neighbors, toward meeting each other, toward experiencing each other's unique foods and dances
celebrating
and celebration.
Yeah, I think that's great. So 88 languages. I mean, I could never begin to name 88 different languages in the first place, let alone.
No, I don't think I could either. And actually, they haven't been published yet. But one of these slides should have a picture of at least 60 of the 88 that are represented from countries all around the world, from Asia, from Africa, from the different parts of the former Soviet Union to
So we are a real
everywhere.
global melting pot right here in the Rockwood area.
We're a microcosm of the world.
I think it would be very difficult to be a teacher or an administrator in a school that had that many different languages, how to deal with that. But even in the Rockwood neighborhood, I'm sure there are challenges. I remember reading in the Outlook one day about that. I think it was Barbary Apartments.
Barbary Village.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And I loved the article. I thought it was great because it was talking about how it had been a real bad area, or a real the apartment was a problem area. The police were called there all the time, but people were starting to appreciate the different cultures and coming together. And
well, at one point it was the most violent location in all of Oregon.
Whoa.
And there were somewhere way over 400 police calls a year to Barbary
More than
Village.
one a day. That's amazing.
And a couple of years ago it was down to 88. I don't have the stats from last year.
Wow.
But one of the reasons, and there are a number of reasons, but one of the reasons was that some people intentionally moved into Barbary Village for the purpose of making a difference and making connections with neighbors and trying to be facilitators for good community relationships. And these are what we call, with the Rockwood CDC, they're connected with the Rockwood CDC as apartment navigators.
Oh.
And there are still some of our people living there now. Another reason is that several years ago, the owner told the apartment, he fired the apartment management team, hired somebody new, and said, let's move the people out that are causing problems, and let's move in some good people. And they started cooperating with refugee resettlement organizations. So 190 units are in Barbary Village. 172 of them are specifically dedicated to newly resettled refugees. So that's actually brought about a very positive contribution to the community.
How many different, do you have any idea how many different?
It's changing all the time because they're newly resettled, and once they get on their own, some of them are staying there temporarily and they move out, so it's constantly changing.
It'd be very difficult to come to this country and not have your community there, but to be able to be welcomed and have some support would be huge, because I can't imagine doing that, picking up and leaving, maybe having left everything behind and then not being able to speak the language, not being able to get a job,
and being traumatized from their own country's experience, and then adding to that the culture shock of coming here, and different ways of doing things and not being able to communicate well. One of the things that's been expressed by the adults over and over again is we need to learn English so that we can at least communicate with our children's teachers at school. And there have been very limited opportunities for adults to learn English in an affordable and accessible way. And so the Rockwood CDC has actually helped launch very recently, last month, a new program for adult learners of English that's being held now, and it's kind of a pilot program. We'll see how it's going to go, but it's been very well attended.
Does it have a name for the
It's the, why did you ask me? It's the Rockwood English Language Institute, RELI, R-E-L-I.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that held at Sunrise?
It's actually held at a couple of different locations in some of the public schools.
Oh, really?
Some classes are in the morning, some are in the evening, some are for men and women, some are just for women.
So make it easy for people to get to.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good. So what do you think are the biggest challenges going forward for Rockwood to make this change, to reestablish itself as a good place to live and a vibrant community?
Well, I'll take a stab at that. I'd be curious to hear Scott's answer to that. But I think one of the biggest challenges is that we've been talking in the Rockwood community for 15, 18, 20 years about change. And even going back before the city, before the voters of Gresham adopted urban renewal in 2003, the Rockwood Weed and Seed program started in 1998 to set the foundation for urban renewal that is designed to create positive change. I think one of the biggest challenges is that we've been creating expectations and having these conversations about Rockwood rising in a positive way and changing for the better for so long that if we are not able to really deliver on that promise in a meaningful way, I think we have a risk of losing momentum and losing people's attention.
Okay.
Right now, we are at a pivotal point in Rockwood where a lot of great people are coming in and doing a lot of great work in terms of building community and bringing people together and getting the community engaged with each other. As Scott mentioned, when you've got people coming from all walks of life in different countries with different languages, getting them to interact with one another is really challenging. And yet that's happening. That's a really exciting thing.
It is. It's very exciting.
At the same time, there's a very real expectation in the community that we need to see positive change in terms of the place. That Rockwood needs to be more attractive, more inviting, that there's expectations on the part of the community that the city is going to take significant steps to see new development in the town center that will continue to support that growing community. Speaking as from the city side, we've got a job to do in terms of redevelopment of the town center to bring resources and assets and amenities to the town center so that it really becomes a place that serves as the living room for the community.
So people want to be there and actually utilize your services. And yeah. We were showing some pictures. I think that map that you were talking about was right up there. So that shows all the different.
That shows 60 there. Of the 88.
60, okay. So that's amazing. And so working with all those different groups, like this is such a sort of is an example of some of the people that are in the Rockwood area. This was at Rock the Block, wasn't it? Yeah. So much diversity. How do you please everybody? I mean, obviously you can't please everybody, but to try to get everybody to work together on this has got to be a real challenge.
Well, one of the things that we're trying to do in terms of the redevelopment work that the Urban Renewal Agency is doing in the town center is really trying to create a project that's for the community, by the community.
Get some buy-in in there, get some investment.
Well, not just buy-in, but we've had conversations with the community over the last 10 years asking the question, what do you want to see here? And we're now at a point where we've put together a development strategy for the city-owned site where the former Fred Meyer used to be.
Right, which is right by where the Rock the Block will be held.
It's right on that site.
Yeah.
That really is sort of holding up a mirror to the community and saying, this is what we heard that you wanted to see in the community. Does this meet your expectations? And it's really about trying to create an economic engine in the heart of the Rockwood Town Center that doesn't exist today, with the overriding goal to empower individuals, family, and the community at large to find pathways out of poverty and become economically sustainable at the family level.
So you're talking about like entrepreneurial spaces where people can do their own businesses, that kind of thing?
Exactly. So we're really trying to support folks who either want to learn the skills that they need to get access to a living wage job. We have a tremendous manufacturing base in Rockwood in the north end toward the freeway. We have Boeing and Denton Plastics and John Deere and Trailblazer Foods, and a number of really strong manufacturing companies that have positions open that they can't fill because they have a hard time finding skilled labor. We look at our site as an opportunity to change that.
Yeah.
So if we can bring in partners, tenants who can help skill up folks in the community that want to gain access to those living wage jobs, we can create financial security for a lot of families in Rockwood because now they have a pathway into a living wage job. Same thing with small businesses. We have a plan to put amenities on the site with partner organizations that will allow folks to start a business. We're going to be moving the Small Business Development Center from downtown Gresham to Rockwood, and partnering with some other organizations that are really geared toward empowering folks to start a business.
Great.
To expand an existing
and
business.
give them the support to help them be successful.
And making sure that support is culturally competent and contextually appropriate. That's the real trick. Making sure we're reaching people where they are and giving them the resources to build a business that they need where they are. So we've got this tremendous immigrant community with a great entrepreneurial spirit. We want to harness that and provide those folks with the resources and the assets and the opportunities that they need to be successful.
So they can live there, they can work there, they can play there. And
so that they don't get pushed out when things get better.
Right.
So that everyone's circumstances rise with the community. That we're not just pushing people off to the next community.
Which has been the problem in Northeast Portland. It's changed so much, it's not even the same place anymore. I mean, it's great in some ways, but in other ways it's sad.
That's right.
Yeah. So Scott, what have you been doing with the CDC to help all this along?
Well, there are a number of things, and I would like to address this issue of one of the greatest challenges, I think, is isolation, overcoming isolation. There's a tendency, not just among the foreigners who are coming over, even among people who have lived here and grown up here their whole entire lives, to isolate ourselves from our neighbors. We've got our own little life, we're busy, we got things going, we come into the house, we leave the house, we go, and it's difficult. And people who are coming with low social capital from their own nation bring that mindset with them here, and it gets reinforced by the lack of connection with community.
So people aren't reaching out to each other.
Right. And I think Rock the Block is just a tremendous example of ways that we can connect, both through volunteering. And by the way, if I may say at this point, the Rockwood CDC is looking for volunteers to help at Rock the Block. And people can go to the website at rockwoodcdc.org. And on that first page that comes up, there'll be a place to click for volunteering. We're looking for about 200 or 300 volunteers. So
it's a fun event. So that's a great.
I volunteered last year, and I highly recommend it. So
I was there.
It's a great
I did
opportunity.
Too. I'll be there again this year. So,
but that's one way, even beyond Rock the Block, with volunteering in the community, getting out and going to the events that are happening. Going next door to your neighbor and saying, this is really awkward, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I think maybe because we live next to each other, we should at least know each other's names.
I mean, we can go to Rock the Block together.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
If you bring your kids, I'll bring mine. And it's a great event to bring people together like that. So you need volunteers for that event, but you probably need them for other things too. So if people are interested in volunteering.
Exactly. And one of the main strategies of the Rockwood CDC and main philosophies, we're not into really starting programs and running programs. What we're about is making connections. So finding out where are the needs, where are the resources to meet those needs. What kind of people are needed for this? Let's find those people with those gifts, those abilities, those skills, and connect them. So we're really about making connections more than anything else, and helping provide pathways where people can move from poverty to prosperity.
That's great. That's great. We're just about out of time. So is there anything else that we should know about regarding Rockwood or the Rock the Block that you want to share with us?
Well, I'll throw one out there.
Okay.
The Redevelopment Commission for the City of Gresham is going to have our own booth at Rock the Block. We're hosting the event on our site that we own. We're a fiscal sponsor as well, and we have actually the city has several booths we'll have there, but one of them, the one that I'm hoping people will come visit.
That you'll be at?
My booth. I and a couple of my staff will be there with boards and a video showing our strategy for redeveloping the Fred Meyer site with specific uses, and we're going to be asking folks to vote on what they like the best. We'll have some sticky dots, and folks can put them up on the boards. We're really hoping to engage in conversations with folks about the future of the Rockwood Town Center site, what they'd like to see there, and how they can get involved. So
that's a perfect opportunity to do that.
I'm
That's
hoping
pretty
folks
smart.
will come over and say hello and introduce themselves and have a conversation with us about their hopes and dreams.
Send them your way. So MetroEast will have a booth there also. So we'll, we're about media literacy, but any kind of literacy is good. So I know that's kind of their theme. But it's exciting the stuff that's going on in Rockwood. It really is, and I like the positive changes, and I'm glad that both of you and your organizations are involved. So thank you both very much for being on tonight. I hope you enjoyed learning all about Rockwood, and I do hope you'll come out to Rock the Block. More information about where it is, when it is, will be on the screen. But all of us will be there, so you can come say hi. Thanks for watching Community Hotline. We'll see you next week.